This August 24th will mark the 40th or Ruby anniversary of the Philadelphia Folk Festival. But the folks who run the festival don't want rubies. They prefer something more musical, preferably made out of wood. Wouldn't you?
We kind of treated ourselves to a new stage.
David Baskin is the chairman of the Philadelphia Folk Festival, and their first stage was 20 by 20 with 5 folding chairs and 3 microphones. But this summer brings
A fabulous new stage. It's about 3,500 square feet. It's fully under roof. It looks like almost like one of the sheds at one of the performances, like a Tanglewood type thing. I mean, now, of course, we get groups who show up and we hire an act, supposedly is the person, and they show up with 5 backups. It looks like, you know, Madonna's New World Tour. And so we have to accommodate all of this. I mean, we've got a grand piano on stage this year for Judy Collins.
Oh, the times, they are a-changing, but the philosophy of the festival has been and always will be
Eclecticism. We call ourselves, at this point, the oldest, broad-based, eclectic folk music festival that's going in the United States. Although Newport started before us, Mariposa started a little before us, they've all had breaks in their history. We have not stopped. This is our 40th festival.
Now, it's also MTV's 20th anniversary. Is rock a hard place for folk these days?
Because in '62, if you wanted to go to a festival in the summer, where'd you go? You waited in the summer for Philadelphia to come around, or you waited for Newport, and that was your festival experience. The venues that in 1962, where did you go? You went to the Second Fret. Now, you have a choice of 5 festivals every weekend, you know, from the spring through the fall. There's a dozen venues in Philadelphia that operate year-round. You can go to the Tin Angel 5 nights a week. You can go to the Point 7 nights a week and hear folk music.
The Folk Song Society was created in 1957 by a small group of friends playing in each other's homes. Then, a bold step.
In '61, David Hadler, who was involved, said, "Come on, kids, let's put on a folk festival. You know, why should we have to go to Newport? Let's do it here. We can do it."
Of course, they had money, they had contacts.
And so, you know, with a couple $100 in the bank and not a brain in our heads, we said, let's do it. But I was there, and I worked at the first festival at the Wilson Farm. I ran the parking lot with Howard Leventhal. The 2 of us parked cars that year. 3 years later, I was chairman.
Presiding over a typical 60s love fest, right?
The crowd that started this festival was a pretty middle-of-the-road, middle-class group of people who, this was not a bunch of wild-eyed, strung-out hippies. Very early on in this organization, it was decided by the board that we were going to be strictly neutral when it came to anything political, controversial. We just took it, we wanted no issues. It was about the music. So we get a crowd out there, as I said, that ranges from the 16-year-olds with the dyed hair and the bell-bottom, tie-dyed, flowy pants, and they're all dancing around, having a great time, to somebody says to me, "You know who that guy is?" And I have no clue. He says, "That's so-and-so. He's an attorney over in Cherry Hill. A guy makes about $2 million a year, and he's out there in torn cutoffs and dirty sandals, and he says he loves to come here for the weekend and camp. He's in a tent on the other side. You would never know it. And this is his weekend to come to the country and bring his banjo and listen to the music."
Camping is also